Good morning. It is Monday the 2nd of August and I am out here in the Reading Nook basically before 7 o'clock with a big pile of parcels to unbox and of course a nice cup of tea. It is post UK Games Expo 2021. I had a great time, met lots of people and it was great to see them after 18 months of lockdown, and it showed you how good a convention can be and how well organised it can be even in these difficult circumstances. And of course it is the second day of RPG a day, so I hope you've been doing this essentially, or I hope you were doing this, because this will go up in about 6 weeks. Let's get on with the next parcel. Now I know this is from Leisure Games, so I do know what's in here because I did order it, and I ordered it for a specific reason. Let's open it up. So what we've got in here is this Liminal. Now this is by Paul Mitchener. I ordered this from Leisure Games. Leisure Games is a really good company here, or retailer here in the UK. I can't recommend them enough. Mike is wonderful, and very supportive of the industry. And he essentially, I ordered that essentially one day, and it came the next. So great service. Now, why am I got a copy of Liminal? Now I already have a copy of Liminal. Basically Dr. Paul Mitchener sent me a copy to review. I reviewed it and I love it, and it's a great game. And I've reviewed the supplement, Pax Landinium, and I will very probably review the next supplement as well. So why I've got a second copy? Well, I had a book collapse at a while back, and essentially the copy I had toppled over, and was in the stack that toppled over. It went down the stairs and broke the spine. So I needed a replacement copy. So not only has Dr. Mitch been generous enough to send me a free copy to review, I had to give him money by buying a new copy, and I don't begrudge that at all. It's my own fault because I've got too many books. So, Liminal, a role-playing game about those caught between the ordinary and extraordinary. Liminal meaning between states or places. There's more to this world than most of us know. Academic wizards and gutter mages, vampires and werewolves. Men in black working for a secret religious order, and a police division investigating 14 crimes. The cities and the very landscape encompass haunted places and lost bubbles of history. Fairy courts and places of power. But there's truth within the legends and folklore. You stand at the edge of the forbidden world, edge of the hidden world. Maybe you've seen it and you can't ignore it. Maybe you're from the hidden world, but with ties to humanity. Join us on a journey into the hidden world with Liminal, a self-contained role-playing game of fantasy in the modern day United Kingdom. But the author, Paul Mitchener, is an academic by day, role-playing games writer by night. He lives in Sheffield with his partner Marjorie and 2 cats. Which is the case. So Liminal is an urban falls within the urban fantasy genre, but it's a bit more expansive than that because it doesn't just stick to the urban areas. You go out onto the moors, and there's werewolves, particularly Yorkshire moors, and there are fairy courts here and there. Some some in the cities, many not. There are places of power all over the place, so it takes in British folklore and fairy lore and weaves it into a role-playing game, and it takes in sort of like most of the British Isles in the process. So it's a bit more expansive than just urban fantasy. So let's just showcase you. Here's chapter 1, and this has some fantastically brilliant artwork in here. And what's amazing is just how good this book looks. I could just sit here and just do it. Here's some more artwork. Here's some more artwork. And you'd probably want to buy it just alone on that. But the game itself is really simple, but it gives you lots of options. And the thing is, you're just a few pages in, okay, so you have essentially explanation of the role-playing game, what's out there in the hidden world. It's not pulling it, but it's not hiding anything from the referee or the GM or the players at this point. There's lots of secrets in here, but the basics are up front and simple. You've got an explanation of what's in the book, and then you go straight into inspirational media. Okay, here's the full list, and I think that's up front, which most bibliographies tend to be at the back. But basically, you know, here we go. Here's what's interesting, and here's what you can look at if you like this game. So books, fiction and poem. Top of the list is The Rivers of London by Ben Aronovich. Now he's getting his own role-playing game, The Rivers of London RPG from Chaosium, but there's nothing to stop you using Liminal to run a game like Rivers of London, if not. Whereas you probably want to run the Rivers of London game using the version coming from Chaosium. And then books, non-fiction, folklore, Albion, The Origins of the English Imagination, Angela Carter's Book of Fairy Tales, and so on. And then for TV and film, Angel, Being Human, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Company of Wolves, Constantine, Jonathan the Stranger and Mr. Norrell, Lucifer, Neverwhere, Sleepy Hollow, Supernatural, and What We Do in the Shadows. So they're all inspirations and give you an idea of the tone. So we have some sample characters in here. We have things like Academic Wizard, Changeling, Clued Up, Criminal, and these are all character concepts which you can basically build off the shelf using this role-playing game. The game itself, mechanics, is essentially a 2d6 roll, add your skill to get over 8 most of the time. Other things we have: Investigator, Knight, Man in Black, Warden. It's giving you, so look, here's our ideas and here's how to do it, but you're free to create, decide what you want to be. And lastly, Werewolf, and the werewolves in here have a nice big brutal feel to them, but they're still and they're interesting to play as well. And you have lots of options in here, also traits, exceptional abilities, and talents and so on. You can take to basically build your character, and so you not only got okay, here's how to do your character, here's some character concepts, here's some sample characters, and the thing that just showcases what you can do with the game. I think one of the great things about that is that's a great thing to do with a role-playing game. Look, here's some ideas that I developed for the game. Here's some ideas that you can build straight out, or take these, play with these straight off, you know, or inspiration, or if you're not going to use them, here are some NPCs. So we've got basically, you know, a changeling, a werewolf without a pack, park-trained wizard on the run, former police detective who found out about the supernatural. He's a member of P Division. One of the starter scenarios you can find online involves 4 police detectives or police officers from P Division, essentially investigating a potential vampire, basically outbreak following essentially an excavation during the Crossrail development in London. Which essentially gives the really nice contemporary feel to the scenario. You know, it's something that's happening now. So we have lots of factions in here, but the other thing you create is, so you have the Council of Merlin, the Court of the Queen of the Hyde Park, Court of the Winter King, so those are the 2 fairy factions. The Jaeger family is werewolf nobility. The Mercury Collegium is basically made of thugs, rebels and thieves who use magic. Order of St. Bede is an organisation dedicated to fighting the supernatural. P Division is basically the police force's answer to basically like Falcon in Rivers of London, and they investigate into the supernatural and Sedati the Crown, a cabal of vampires. And the other thing you do, not just create a character, but you also, when you play, you create your when the players sit down, they create a crew, and that gives you sort of like basically sort of an organisation, essentially, that the players belong to together, essentially their team and the resources they have together. And you give them access to like a base of operations, connections, and a cult library and that sort of thing. And you have relationships and hooks between essentially this crew has with the factions in the setting. And then we have example crews such as essentially the South Yorkshire regulars, basically, who help those who live lives damaged by the hidden world, or the Edinburgh Inquirers, scientific understanding of the magic and the hidden world. Norfolk gentlefolk, daring magical heists and cons, and the specialist crime directorate of 9 of the basically solving magical crimes which cannot be tackled through the usual channels. So there's samples, and the game rules. Some more good artwork. It's really simple. 2d6 and add the skill, and there you go. That's it. And it plays really simply and easily. I've played in I've played it probably 2 or 3 times and really enjoyed it. Whether that's playing the game with the vampire hunting, and then out hunting werewolves on the Yorkshire moors. And I was playing sort of like a Giles-like character from Buffy, because that was the character I was given. It's a really good game. You have rules for magic in here and different types of magic. So you can really sort of like build interesting characters and give them lots of abilities and specialise and so on. So magic like glamour, or see necromancy, which it's all shape changing, ward magic, it's all there. And then we get onto supernatural beings and factions, and there's quite extensive. You've got basics of the Council of Merlin, you've got history, an organisation, rules of the council, a couple of the major NPCs, and so essentially that's 6 pages just on the Council of Merlin, and that's really gives a great introduction to it, explains what it is, how to involve the players in it, how to bring it into your game, through the NPCs and so on, and basically make use of it and build a game around it, which is fantastic. And there are a few in here which all the ones listed, I've said, basic P Division, the Winter Court, and so on. They're all in here discussed, and there's some more extra ones in here as well. There's smaller factions which develop the game further. Chapter 7, we have Liminal, Britain and Northern Ireland. That's a list of places and their significance in terms of Liminal. So basically from Belfast, Glasgow, Liverpool, all the big cities, London of course, and Manchester, Oxford. London had its own settlement in the form of Pax Londinium. But essentially each of these gets a page of their own, and it goes out to it doesn't just do the cities, it's got the basically minor towns and villages like Glastonbury or Hinton St Mary, which is a tiny Dorset village. Probably that I've been there at some point. Hinton St Mary, and of course a strange place like Portmeirion, which is most famous for the British surrealist TV drama The Prisoner, shot in the 60s, which if you've not seen, I thoroughly recommend because it's brilliant. So basically, then we've got the advice for the game master and handling cases and building scenarios and the like. So that's all good advice. We've got otherworldly places, so example fey domains, and how they work, and everything in here that essentially that a good GM will need to run a game. And there is advice for running Liminal outside the United Kingdom, but it is a very much a UK based game. Otherwise, that doesn't mean you can't do it, which is why the advice is there. So there are sites located outside of the UK too, and then essentially just got further creatures you might encounter. Basically, bestiary, like fey monsters, fey nobles, that sort of thing, changelings, ghosts, like the black dog and the Nicor. Again, accompanied by great artwork, black and white and colour. It's a good mix, and it's used well. Man in Black, Peter Vision Detective. So basically, sample characters, and the ordinary mortals, whether that's a petty criminal, police officer, soldier, or thug, so on. They're all there. Vampires, everything that the GM will need, and members of the basically pack alpha, basically werewolves. And then we've got sample cases with hooks, background characters, essentially adventure seed at the back, and an index. And the back, concept artwork and sketches and the like, essentially, literally just extras in there. Like that. That's a really nice piece. Basically the author didn't have to include but did, and that's a really nice touch, and there's an afterword as well. This is Liminal, and it's a really nice self-contained, detailed, flavoursome, urban fantasy, basically mythology based role-playing game. I thoroughly recommend it. It's nice and simple, lots of detail, lots of flavour, and it's sort of like, it has the feel of sort of like in some ways of the World of Darkness in its comprehensiveness, but it's got everything in this one book. So ghosts, vampires, fairy, wizards, and then your essentially your mortals as well, all in there. So yeah, do check that out if you've not seen it before. There's a full review of it on my website, on my blog, of course, and of course Pax Londinium, and I'll put links down to the review of both in the description below. So thank you very much for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this, please do click the like button, and of course if you've got any comments or feedback, thank you very much. If you add those, I will take the time to read them. And if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me with a parcel and a book, which I will talk for 10 or so minutes, then please do subscribe, and you'll also get to see me enjoy a nice hot cup of tea. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.